Welcome back to another episode of the Booktroverts podcast. I'm McKayla,
Meg.
and today we are finally doing our 2025 releases / things we're excited to read. I know we're posting this at the end of February, but we had other things that were a bigger priority at the beginning of the year. So we're going to go through upcoming releases that we're looking forward to for this year that we could think of. Obviously, there's probably ones that haven't hit our radar yet, or like we just didn't even realize was this year they were coming out. And then also just books that may not be new releases, but they've been on our radar that we would like to get to in 2025. I think we can just start with upcoming releases and we'll go through each month and what we're excited for. Obviously, January, the only thing on everyone's lips was Onyx Storm. We went to the midnight release. We read it. We've talked about it. If you've missed those episodes, we did a prep episode before it with theories. Then we did 2 deep dive episodes going very in-depth on the chapters. I think it's 4.5 hours combined of deep dive. So we talked a lot about Onyx Storm. So February releases that we are excited for. Do you have any in Feb?
I think it's probably the same, and it's already passed by the time we're recording, but it's the second book in the Rebel Witch series, which I know we're going to be talking about on our next episode. So super excited for that one, just to finally get to read it, because like you said, we've been pretty much in Onyx Storm world for the past month and a half, and that's been our life.
Yeah, it came out earlier this week when we're recording. It's the sequel to Heartless Hunter. I've already seen people reading it and posting updates on Goodreads about it. I haven't seen anyone rate it yet, but definitely excited to read that. Do you recall, is this just going to be a duology?
It is, yeah,
Oh, perfect.
which is perfect for it, because if you really think about it, and I have some of the facts in my mind, but with how many fantasy books we've read, it's a little bit muffled, but it just wasn't enough that I think it continue for more than 2 books. So that's what I
Yeah.
love, when they just say, you know what, instead of making it a crazy long series, we're just going to do 2 and we're going to leave it at
Yeah.
that. I love those. I'm all for it. So
I love a duology. Yeah, because it's like you get a little bit more time with the characters, but it's
yeah.
not like a huge commitment. We will not give any spoilers if we're talking about anything in series, but I remember Heartless Hunter. I think I gave it like a 3.5 when we read it last year. And I remember saying, this is before we had started the podcast, so it was like just our normal book club. And I remember saying, this was a good like setup book. And while it wasn't a 5-star read for me, which I know for some people it was, I remember thinking the way it is set up for book 2 at the end of book 1, I could have said that way more concisely, but you know what I'm trying to say, that like I feel like book 2 has really strong potential to be a 5-star book if it's done correctly.
I agree, because they didn't, it was very well done in getting to know the characters and the dynamics they had. And it was just enough to get you wanting more. It wasn't too much where you, okay, just want to find out the ending. This was, no. I need to know what the rest of their stories build up to. And it kind of obviously was on a cliffhanger, but there were other parts that we didn't get answers to that I wouldn't say were
Yeah.
cliffhangers, but just you'll find out in the next book. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
excited to find out that stuff and kind of put the pieces together.
Yeah, and the map is expanding in the second book, which is
I would
always
love
fun
that.
in a fantasy. Was that the only February one you had?
That's the only one I had. Yeah. So I don't know if
Okay.
you had any others.
I just had one other one, and this one has also passed. I don't know when I will get to it. It wasn't like I needed to get it on release day, but I would like to get to it this year, and that is Scythe and Sparrow. It is the third, and I'm pretty sure the last book in the Butcher and Blackbird series. So I really liked Butcher and Blackbird. I know Leather and Lark, the second one, was not everyone's favorite. I didn't mind it. I think I rated it pretty similarly. And this third book is now going to be about the last brother who is a doctor, and I'm excited. I mean, we don't know. There's a lot of questions around his character, so I'm excited to learn more. They're not like the greatest books I've ever read. They're definitely just like quick little reads. So I would like to get to it. I wasn't rushing right on the release date, but that came out February 11th.
Okay. I had tried the first one, but it was an audiobook, and I know I wasn't doing the Libby hold for an audiobook and did not make it through the first
Yeah.
couple minutes because it was just a little too much for an audio for me. So
Yeah.
I would like to go back and do a Libby hold for the actual book, not
Yeah.
for the audio. So hopefully I'll get to that soon, because it is something I'd be interested in reading, but it's just not audio style for me.
Yeah. I feel like now it's the last book in the series. I have to just finish it out. And I like that you do get like little cameos from the other couples. So I'm excited to like see those characters again.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one came out. I have not seen anyone talk about it, so TBD on what the thoughts were. I feel like the first one was really popular, and then a lot of people probably dropped it for the second one, but
Well, that's the tough thing too. I think we had talked about this. I can't remember if it was on the pod or just us texting, but sometimes a series gets really tough when they go too far into it and you just kind of say, okay, I can't keep up with the characters. I just want to know what's going to happen, but I don't need the whole story. Just give me the TLDR and I'm
yeah.
good. So you could have people who are doing that with this and just, all right, someone spoil it for me, as bad as it sounds.
We were texting about it, and it's funny because it was when you were reading the off-campus series,
Yeah.
and I said, "Oh, that was on my list to try and get to last year. I would love to get to it this year." And what you said is what I've seen other people say, like, the first few books are good, but, like, it did not need to be as long, and they definitely didn't need to do the legacy or whatever, and it's basically just, like, a really extended epilogue, and we were just saying, we love an interconnected standalone. But I think so many authors are just trying to strive to make their books series because it
Mhm.
sells better probably if people wanna just keep buying it. But, like, not every side character is the main character. Not every side character is enough to hold their own in their own standalone book.
As bad as it sounds, side characters have their own energy, and sometimes they're not main character energy, and that's okay.
Yeah,
We don't need them to be. They are just there to add to the
yeah,
story. I don't need their life. You could have given me the epilogue as the legacy thing with none of the other books, and I would have been totally fine with that. Just give me a little,
yeah,
how is the whole crew doing after,
yeah.
graduated or whatever the situation is.
Yeah, like, some people are side character energy, some people are main character energy, and some people are side character that can transcend into main character energy. And I think it's a fine balance. And I do think that we have lost the art of a standalone book, like a singular book where you start and you end and it is wrapped up in one book. Now everything is we're gonna make it a series, or you're gonna get this couple wrapped up, but then there's gonna be a couple loose ends with these other people. I mean, it's nice. You get to like revisit that world and those characters,
Yeah.
but some people in those books, we could learn about this relationship through different characters being the main character. Go to coffee and tell them about like, "Oh, yeah, we went on this date. I love him, blah, blah." We can
Yeah.
learn about your relationship through a different character's lens. We don't need to be in your shoes.
Yes. Oh my God. It's very simple as when it's just a random, they need a pause from the main story. And you just, like you said, you go to a
Yeah.
coffee shop and you're talking and he goes, I had this random crazy night and I'm now with this person, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
There you go. Give me the TLDR. I'm good. End it.
Yep.
Put a bow on it. I'm all set. You know what I mean? Just,
Yes.
no,
Not everyone needs their own book because they're just
exactly.
not a main character person, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's how I feel about this. Like, I could have left it probably just at the first book, but she had to introduce us to all these other people, which, it's fine. It's fine. Did you have any for March?
I did. So this one is I feel bad because I know I just talked about series, and maybe doing some standalones, but here I am going and talking about a book series. But it's the Strawberry Patch Pancake House, and I had to look at that to make sure I said that all correct. But it's the fourth book in the Dream Harbor series by Lori Gilmore. So these are those cute, cozy books that I was seeing
Mhm.
on TikTok, very much Gilmore Girls vibes in that small town. So this is the fourth one. So that comes out in March. So I think at this point, I just want to see their cute stories because it's a nice
Yeah.
palate cleanser. You know what I mean?
And they're
It's
like
good.
$2 to buy the ebook.
Right. I don't care. It's okay. Take my money. I get that in points
Yeah.
from other books that I've purchased. It's fine.
Yeah. They're just cute. They're fluffy. Like, they're not gonna be life-changing. They're not gonna be five-star reads, but
No.
they're just a good palate cleanser. Now, if I remember correctly, the woman who owns the Strawberry Patch Pancake House is the woman who worked, like, the ticket booth at the Christmas tree farm.
Okay. Flip it a bit. Iris is technically from the farm, but she doesn't own the place. She just gets asked to be a nanny for the chef of the pancake
Oh, okay.
place. I had that so confused too because
I
that's
thought
the
she
one
owned the
girl in
pancake
it.
place.
No, the other girl in it, I'm blanking on her name, owns a different place because they all seem to be owners in this small town. So
Yeah.
it's just, yeah. But no, this one is the girl is the nanny and the guy is the chef. And she's his nanny for his daughter. Yeah, for his daughter.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And I will just plug, we did do an episode talking about the Christmas tree farm when that came out last year. And I think
Yep.
we combined that with How My Neighbor Stole Christmas
I
from
think we did.
Meg and Gwen, so it's like the Christmas episode. I think that went up in like November. So if you're curious, we did do like a little half episode deep dive on that book and our thoughts. And let me see. I did not have anything for March outside of that same book.
Too funny. We're just pretty much on a roll here.
We read a lot of the same things. Now, I will say April is a busy month.
I have a
Very
couple for
busy.
April too. Yeah, so I'm curious what you have.
Okay. My first one is Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez, which is coming out April 1st. Expected, obviously, these dates that we're going to give could change, like already. We've already seen some changes. Anything she writes, I will buy. That's pretty much what it is. I love her writing. I have like no clue what this one's about. So Meg is probably more prepared and can fill us in. But pretty much she's one of those like auto-buy authors for me. Now, with that being said, there are books I read from her that were misses, in my opinion. Like The Friend Zone, I think I gave 2 stars. But Yours Truly, Part of Your World, Just the Summer, fantastic, 5-star read. So I will buy anything she writes. And the fact that it is a Taylor Swift lyric, perfection.
You know, it's so bad I did not pick up on that immediately. And then I said, oh no, this makes it 10 times better now that I'm actually getting this. So yes, I will gladly be getting this as soon as it's out. I mean, will I read it as soon as it's out? I don't know, but I will definitely be buying it immediately.
Yeah, and we figured we don't think this is part of a pre-existing series or like connected to any of our other books, because I think we looked it up and the main character is Xavier, and we didn't recognize that name.
And if somehow it is, I totally missed that piece.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I mean, how many other books we've read? I'm lucky if I remember main characters from others.
I couldn't tell you the names of the characters in her other books, even though I absolutely love those books.
Yeah.
It's in one ear, out the other.
Yep, pretty much.
Okay, what was your next April one?
The other one I had was by our queen, Megan Quinn. It was The Bridesmaid by Chance. And I think this is the last Bridesmaid story because it goes through Hudson's story. So we had my God, what was his name? Was it Hardy Hop?
Hardin.
Hardin. Oh my God. Why do I want to
Yeah, one of them was Hardy.
It was a very goofy combo of a first and last.
Well, the first one was the sister.
No, it was the friend. It was the friend of the girl from Almond Bay, and she now works for the Harper family.
Oh yeah.
Because they're in tandem with the Kane brothers.
But she was at the sister's wedding.
Yes.
With their employee.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, that's how it is. Yeah.
Then the next one was Hardy.
Okay. In my mind, I was just that name.
So there should be one more then after this, because weren't there 3 brothers? Oh no, one of the brothers got married, right?
Only
2 brothers and a sister.
Yeah. So it's the 3 kids, but because we saw the sister's
wedding on the first one.
Yeah. So I think they're counting it as that combo.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So this one's gonna be interesting because it's Hudson, but it's also with his brother-in-law's sister. Is the female character.
Nice.
I had to make sure I had that lineage right because I want to accidentally.
So the man from the first book, what's his name? Like Jude or something like that?
Yeah, Jude, yeah. So it's his sister. So that's interesting.
What's the date on that?
It's so expected on the 15th of April, which I think is pretty accurate because she started to do
what's it, Bridesmaid by Chance?
Bridesmaid by Chance, yeah.
April 15th.
Yeah.
Add that to my list.
Yeah, that's one of her. I'm not going to get too far into because I know there's more from her list, but I think that's 3 that she has coming out the rest of the year.
She's been cranking the books out.
Wild.
Which I'll take. I still haven't even read the new one that she had out in January.
Oh, yeah. I read that one. It was adorable.
I haven't read that one yet, which is the 3rd one in the Almond Bay series.
And I think the final one, too, because that goes through the whole family.
Yeah, because that was the brother. Yeah, I haven't read that one yet.
I will say the epilogue, emotions, all the emotions. It was just one of those. It was cute because she did a really good final for the entire series. Do you know what I mean? It was cute.
Yeah.
So when you read it, you'll have to text me.
Yeah, I will. Okay, my next one for April is Enchantra. I have no clue you're supposed to say it. By Kaylee Smith. It's coming out April 8th. This is the sequel to Phantasma, which I read in October, and I ate up every second of it. 5-star read. I immediately texted Meg, like, you need to read this book. I do think it is interesting that this was coming out in April, but I don't know, because the first one like just had such Halloween vibes to it. Now I do know that this one is following, well, actually not gonna say because that will spoil the first book, so I will not say anything. But given like the location it's going to be in, maybe it's going to be more summery. So that timing would make more sense. But I need to read this, not because I'm super connected to the character that it's going to follow. But one, I need to like figure out the rest of this mystery from book one, and I need to see our book one couple.
Yeah. So I'm going to sound so indifferent on this one, but I didn't love the first one as much as you did.
So disappointing.
However,
It happens. We can still be friends.
I know. But I want to know more of the story because, like you said, this is going to be interesting because there's a part, obviously, no spoilers, but from the first book that would be important to the second one. And I want to know what happens and kind of just tie up the story all together. So I'll probably read it, but it wasn't one of my I'm going to it immediately type things. So,
yeah. Okay. That's gonna be a question. Are you going to read it, or do you want me to give you like a TLDR after I read it?
I probably will read it if I have time. But if I do,
Yeah, the
I'll
book
text
is
you and
probably
say, okay.
it's
Got
probably
it.
going to be short. I think the first one was pretty short.
Yeah. It was really
Yeah,
quick.
it's on my list. It's on my radar for this year as a new release. It's another one though, like April, whatever I said, 11th. I'm not rushing to the Kindle store to download it. It's one of those like if I have a lull, I'll get to it. I want to get to it by the end of the year. It's not like we're gonna rush to get there though.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, hit us with your next April one.
I don't have any more actually for April.
Oh,
For
okay.
May. So I guess you
Okay. I guess April was only busy for me.
Yeah.
The new Emily Henry book is coming out at the end of April. So this is Great Big Beautiful Life, and the anticipated date is April 22nd. Actually, I pulled it up. Let me get a little description.
I feel like I should
I
have this on my list because I think I've read every single other book by her.
Yes,
And I have
I
purchased, I think, every single book.
yeah. So I have also read all the Emily Henry books, and they are extremely hit or miss for me. And I feel like that's like one of those like bookish opinions or thoughts you have that is just like you don't even want to say it because you just know the comments are coming. Like, how can you not like it? And I think I like her newer stuff much more than like the older catalog. Like Beach Read is her most popular book. I did not like that book. I did not understand why it was called Beach Read. It's like set not on the beach. I did not get it. People we meet on vacation. I know it's becoming a movie. We've seen the photos. I did not like that one.
Yeah.
I am a book lovers girly. That is
That
my top.
Mhm.
That is number one for me. Will never be dethroned. Funny story, amazing. Happy Place. It was kind of, I think I gave it like a 4, so I definitely liked it more than the others. Am I missing any?
I'm trying to think too.
People we meet on vacation, Beach Read. I don't think so.
I can check it, but I feel like that's
I think that's all of them.
Yeah.
Actually, I have it right here. But I do think, let me see. Yeah, obviously she has like older ones that I haven't read, but like the ones that are like really popular, yeah, we got them all.
Yep.
My least favorite though is honestly probably People We Meet on Vacation, followed very closely by Beach Read. And those are like the ones people really love. Funny story that came out last year. You read it first and then you were like, oh, you'll like it. So Meg vetted that one before I read it.
That one and Book Lovers still are probably my top 2. They're awesome.
Book Lovers is so good. And the fact that you like Book Lovers and you listen to that one only on audio, and we're like not audiobook girls, that's how you know it's a good book. But I'm just looking. Yes. So this one, I think it's interesting that she broke her mold of like a 2-word title and is going for this longer title.
I did not pick up on that at all, but continue.
Well, I guess People We Meet on Vacation is longer, but
let's say that's one of her older ones because after that it was the 2.
But like Beach Read, Book Lovers, Funny Story, Happy Place. But this one is going to follow 2 writers who are competing for the chance to tell the larger-than-life story of a woman with more than a couple of plot twists up her sleeve. So I think it'll be interesting. I think I liked Book Lovers because I liked that they were both readers and that like really related to me. So I feel like I would like it set with the writers. But then again, Beach Read was 2 writers
I know.
and I hated it. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
The only thing I could say that would add just from you reading that could add more is the fact that the person they're talking about has tricks up their sleeves. There's going to be twists that you aren't seeing instead of it being your typical love
Yeah.
story. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be a little
Yeah.
bit more.
So it looks like they're competing to write the biography of a woman no one has seen in years. She's a tragic heiress, former tabloid princess, and daughter of the most storied and scandalous families of the 20th century. So I feel like I'll really like her story. You know what this is reminding me of? Just as Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo.
I was just going to say that.
That, like,
Love
just
that
reading
one.
that line, I was like, okay. See, that one I also unpopular. I think I gave it 3 stars. It wasn't my favorite. And it looks like they get invited out for a 1-month trial period, after which she'll choose the person who will tell her story. So I don't know, it could be interesting. Again, I go into Emily Henry very skeptical. I'm either going to love it or I'm going to be like, this is mid for me. And I think I'm just really harsh with her writing too, because she's so hyped up and everyone seems everything is a 5-star with them. And so I'm like really skeptical going in. So we shall see. I probably will get that one pretty close to the release date just because I know that will be like all over TikTok and all the places, and I don't want to be spoiled.
Yeah, I'm with you because that's it. There's some that it just it's going to be spoiled immediately, and it's not as. And I don't mean to say this against her book, but it's not as big as Onyx Storm was, where everyone's literally putting spoiler alert on their post. This
Yeah.
would be one that someone just starts talking about and just says, "Okay, there you go. That's it. You're getting the details."
Yeah. It'll be interesting. And I haven't seen anyone get like advanced copies of this or talk about it. So I'm curious to see what people think. Because, yeah, she is such like a beloved author. So
If you really like
curious.
it, I think I'm gonna have to get it because I feel like I just have her entire catalog that.
Okay, so I'll go first with this one. I'll go first with this one. Okay. Got it. And I'll give you my rating. Okay, that was all I had for April. So what do you got for May?
All right.
I only have
so
one for May.
I only have one too, and
It's probably the same one.
I think it's the same one, but it's for Wind It Back, the Windy City number 5. I just finished them. I know you read them a lot earlier than I did. I am living on the high of this series, and I can't find something else that's similar. I just ended up I literally switched to Crescent City because I go, okay, I can't do any hockey romance because nothing's gonna bring me to this type of vibe. Granted, there's other sports in this series as well, but I am so excited to see Rio's story. I cannot wait.
Let's see if he can transcend side character for 4 books to main character energy. It's hard when you're the last one. And he was really big in the other ones. Like,
He's such a good side character too. He's so funny.
yeah, and like his personality has already been built up. So I think it'll be kind of weird to see him like being romantic with someone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm intrigued. Now, quick off the top of your head, rank Windy City series for you.
Oh my God. Okay. So I'm forgetting all the
Just
names.
gut reaction.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, I know the names, so I'll tell you.
Okay. So the second one with
The Right Move.
I would say is tied number 1 with the 4th book.
Play along.
I love how you know these, and I'm just 1, 2, 3, 4. So those are my top 2. And then I would say the third one was actually my next up.
That one, I can't remember what that one was called. The cover's orange, though.
Yeah. And
Catching. No, it's not Catching. The first one's Mile High. Yeah. Caught up.
Okay. And then Mile High. And the only reason why, and I know we talked about this, but I did not expect a single dad trope to be higher for me than the first of the series. And not saying that the first one is terrible. I just want to preface that because I think a lot of people complain that the first one's really tough and then you get through the rest of the series and love it. But I loved the first one. There were so many powerful, opinions and thoughts and everything and stances on stuff. It was so good. But for me, that's kind of how I'd rank it. And not that they were anything less. I think it was just more tied of here's my top 2 and here's my, next 2.
I know. I think I would put Play Along 1 only because I read it most recently and I really I did not stop thinking about it for the rest of the year after I read that. But before Play Along, The Right Move was my favorite. So I would be curious, like, read them back to back and see which one I thought. But yeah, I would do like Play Along 1, Right Move 2. I would have Mile High 3, and then I would put Caught Up 4. I'm just single parent trope, single dad trope is not my favorite. Honestly, this will sound absolutely terrible. I love children. Let me preface this. I love children. Children in books, though, like it just adds an extra layer. Now I got to read a paragraph about like you coordinating the babysitter and like, oh, I have to leave the dinner early, right? As something's about to happen because like I gotta go relieve the babysitter. It just adds logistics. The child always has to be mentioned in somewhere being cared for at all points of the day. And it does limit them from having more spontaneous dates because it's like, I have to bring the kid along, or I have to go figure out where I'm going to bring the kid. And if the kid comes along on the date, they're usually ruining it at some point. So, like, it's just not my favorite trope because, like, I think Megan Quinn actually, like, did a TikTok video. I think she said that when she was writing the last Ellen Bay, and she's like, I don't like writing single parents because, like, you have to do something with the child at all times. It's like when you write in an animal and something bad happens, and then you never close the loop on, like, what happened to the dog. Like, Onyx Storm, we did not get clarification of the status of broccoli. So everyone's like, where is broccoli? You have to put it on the page. You have to put on the page, where is this child while you're at dinner? Where is this child while you're on some trip? You know, it just is extra logistics that I do not want to deal with.
Yeah, I totally am with you.
That's solely the only reason why, because I'm like, this is adding fluff.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, this one I will say I think I preferred more because the kid was literally with them at all times.
Yeah, because she was the nanny.
Yeah, she's the nanny. So it's kind of just a, she's the kid's
But
yours, but it
we
does
can't have
ruin
like
the spontaneous excitement.
yeah, we can't have like a spontaneous like we're in the kitchen. I'm just gonna throw you on the island like the kid's in his high chair.
Right.
We can't be doing that. You know, it's just kind of like you're out of the fantasy a little bit. So that's the only reason why. It was a fantastic book.
Yeah.
Just the single parent of it all, the nanny, not my favorite trope.
It definitely gave you, and I'm saying the whole entire series had a variety of tropes and what was happening. So I liked that because some people
It did
might
not feel
prefer
cookie cutter.
Right. It was a different thing happening each time. And I'm going to go back to when we were talking about the off campus series. And I find it's very tough for college romance series to have a variety. You need to either have
Only so many things they can do.
they're either partying or not partying. Or
we're in her dorm or his dorm, or we're off campus.
There's not much you can do. Though,
like you're going to class, you're going to your part-time job or your internship. And on your free time, you're partying.
You're right. Exactly. Or if you're lame like me, you were just hanging out and just not partying. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those.
I love a college romance. I don't read them as much now, but like when I was in college, it is all I read. And even like just like after graduating, but you know when you're reading it, one of them is always older than the other one. They're never in the same year. And the biggest thing that's facing them is, what are we going to do when you graduate? What are we going to do? Oh, you're a professional athlete? What team are you going to be drafted on? And are we ever going to, like, they're going to be a professional athlete. Like, they can afford an economy ticket to come see you at college. It's going to be okay. Also, if we just zoom out, you are 21 years old. If it doesn't work out with this one, you got plenty of life.
You're still you.
Like, that is 9 times out of 10. That is the problem that causes the third act breakup. The worst is when she's a freshman and he's a senior and they're like, what are we going to do for the 3 years? Like, bitch, transfer to near where he's going to be then. If all you care about is being near him, transfer. If he gets drafted to San Diego, go to San Diego State. Just transfer. Like, you're doing gen eds right now anyways. I just sometimes just jump in there. When I read them when I was that age, though, I'd be like, this is terrible. How are they going to overcome this? Now, as a 30-year-old, I'm like, this is not that serious.
The problems they're talking about are nothing compared to problems you can have in an older age. This is child's play. This is nothing. Let's move on.
Yeah, it's funny, though. It's just always like, what are we going to do? You'll be fine. Trust me.
I think my favorite college series, and I'm gonna throw Megan Quinn out there again, was she had a couple that they were in college, but then a lot of them were years down the line, and it was someone either they knew back in college or it was a whole new series. So it was you still had the same core group, but they grew up. It wasn't the same timeline.
Yeah.
It wasn't overlapping. It was nicely done. So for me,
Yeah.
that's where I live. I can't do the college romances as much. It's just
Yeah.
hey,
A really good college romance is Say You Swear,
yes.
immediately followed by a terrible college romance, which is a sequel to it, Promise Me Not,
Which we
which we did an episode.
we have destroyed that.
I just like to think about it once in a while because, like, that was crazy. That book was everywhere. And people think Noah Beck, do you know who he is, that TikToker?
Briefly, not enough, but I've heard of them. Yeah.
Yeah, so he just did some movie on Tubi. It was like a Wattpad fan fiction that they turned into a movie
Okay.
called The Quarterback and I, Quarterback and Me, something like that.
Okay.
So he's like getting into acting, and he posted that book, Say You Swear. So people think he's being cast as Noah Riley. I had no clue that this had like a movie adaptation rights purchase. I don't know if that is confirmed or people just like are assuming. But I'm just like, the fact that that book is so good that like we're talking about movies and then followed up years later, she had years to write the sequel, followed up by one of the worst pieces of work. And this, no one talks about it. Like, we all still talk about Say You Swear. It's just like we don't even mention that second book and how trash it was.
It is just so funny because every time I think we've talked about this series, I have a different response of if I'm going to continue the series. And when we first talked about it, I go, yeah, I'm going to read the third one for sure. Now I'm not doing it. I am not putting myself through that torture. I will get the TLDR at the end, maybe reaches the Apple.
Oh, how funny. I'm Googling because I forgot there was going to be a third one. It is coming out this year,
Stop it.
June 17th.
So she must have wrote both of them.
Yeah, why did it take you 2 years for the sequel? Who's it about? Who? Cameron's
it's
book.
about the girl. Yeah, Cameron.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't connected to her. Because she's like
Because she's
barely in the
not.
second book.
She's not in the second one, which I thought they were going to do. Is it Chase? Was in the second one again, and it terrible.
So there'll probably be a fourth book about him. I think I'm done. Honestly, you cannot serve me perfection and then literal garbage after that. To the point where it felt like two separate people wrote those books.
I know. It was totally different. I don't know.
Editor, where? Publisher, where? Focus group, where? I don't. And again, like, more than I will ever write, so
Yeah.
she's still better than me. But as a reader who has read a lot of books, it is one of the worst ones I've read when you look at it in terms of a series that is so built up.
Yeah.
Like a 6-star book coming out the gate to then me feeling generous giving the second one 2 stars.
Yeah, it just tanked real fast.
Tanked.
It's so bad.
And
I feel bad.
my favorite is no one talked about it. There was like a handful of reviews on it. And I just think people were like nervous because they were like, wait, we all loved the first one. Did we all just experience that collectively together? Like, we're just not even going to fucking talk about it. Like, it does not exist.
And I felt so bad for the main male character. I wanted more for him because I loved him in the first book. And they just did not give those side characters a good chance to be main characters at all. It was terrible.
He had main character energy. She had, you should be side character peripheral, like side character to the side character.
It should have just been told from the side of
it should have just been a continuation of the first couple's story, and she's getting lunch with her brother, and he brings over his new girlfriend. That's what it should have been.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm
with you. Okay, that was also my only May one was Rewind It Back by Liz Tomford. Okay, June. So we have this lovely piece of work. Trust Me Always. Books of Avix, number 3, June 17th. TBD on if we read it. Do you have any other ones for June?
Yeah, I have a couple. So I have another Megan Quinn. Till Summer Do Us Part. She just announced the title of it. It's her, I think it's a
Oh,
standalone.
it's like a new one. Yeah.
It's just a standalone summer thing. It's expected on the 3rd of June, so
Till
early.
Summer Do Us Part.
Yep.
I'm adding it to my list.
Yeah. It looks super cute. I mean, from the description, it's this girl. Her name is Scotty. She starts a new job. Thinks it's
I love that name for a girl.
love that name for a girl. Yes, agreed. And basically thinks it's going to be a huge bachelor pad in terms of atmosphere, but everyone's happily married. She ends up lying to her boss saying that she's married. He goes, "Well, you don't have a ring." And then she says, "I'm in a terrible marriage." So then she ends up having to get someone to, just become her fake husband that she has a shitty marriage with. And then the guy, right? It just typical.
I love that. That's like fake marriage, but a different twist on it. I like that.
Right. Not a fake marriage.
So I
in the
need you
sense of, it's
to,
my friend that I need to marry because, need to hold up.
I just like, I told my parents I was married. So I need you to be married to me. And I need you to be the absolute fucking worst.
Right. I hate my marriage so much to you that I took off my ring. Oh, and buy me a ring because I need a ring to fake
Take off.
when I'm angry.
Oh my God.
I'm so excited. And then the guy's name is Wilder, which I love that name too. So I feel like their names are really good in this book. I don't know.
That is a good name.
When they just don't mesh well and you're, oh, okay.
Yeah.
This one, I like it. Scotty Wilder. So I'm excited.
That will be good.
Yeah.
That sounds actually really good. Okay. I don't know if you have this on your list, but the new Taylor Jenkins Reid book is coming out
No, I don't.
June 3rd, called Atmosphere. And this is the one that follows astronauts. Oh, not me Googling atmosphere, thinking that like my Google would just know to give me the book. It gave me literal, like, this is what the atmosphere is.
That's amazing.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Now, I thought her like famous women series was over, but this is about a woman who is doing like, was well known. So I don't know if technically this will be part of that series or if this is going to start a new like little interconnected series. But it follows Joan Goodwin. She was a professor of physics and astronomy, and she basically comes across an advertisement seeking the first women scientists to join NASA's space shuttle program. I believe this is set in the 80s. Yes. So she ends up becoming like an astronaut or getting selected with 3 other women who all kind of become friends as they're preparing for their first flights. And then it kind of said it in this new light, Joan begins to question everything she thinks she knows about her place in the observable universe. And it's based on a mission in December of 1984. It's mission STS-LR9. And it says it all changes in an instant. So yeah, I like Taylor. Another one though, the Taylor Jenkins Reid famous women series was kind of hit or miss for me. Seven Husbands is the one people love the most. It was probably my least favorite. Malibu Rising was mid for me.
Yeah, it was.
Daisy Jones and the Six is one of the greatest books I've ever read. I think I just really like that format of book too. Like I read that in one sitting. And Carrie Soto is back. I liked that one. This I think has potential. I think it's really cool to be about space and female astronauts. Like just different. I've never read a book about space or astronauts. I love that we're getting women going to space. And yeah, I think it could be cool. I like when they're set in like the 80s time period because I just feel like that's like an interesting time to read about.
I was gonna say too. She seems to have a really good handle of books in that time too. I don't know if it's just her vibe, but it does really
Yeah, because I don't think
explaining it.
when did she? Yeah, she was born in 83, so it's like she was like
teens at that time.
Yeah, like she was born in the 80s, but yeah, she wasn't like, a coherent member of society in the 80s. She was probably better for the 90s, but yeah, I don't know. I like her writing style. I like how character driven her books are. It just depends. Sometimes the pacing is a little too slow for me, where you're kind of like waiting for us to get to kind of something crazy. But a space flight, there's so much that could go wrong.
Yeah. And the fact that it kind of, I mean, I'm totally assuming, but it seems as if it's a time focused thing too, where you're in space and learning about that. And it seems not this drawn out thing of some history item that I'm telling a story about 30
Yeah.
because
Yeah, it looks like we're gonna follow.
past.
Yeah, she was like giving a biography.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like we're gonna follow her like applying for the program, getting in training, and then like going on her first flight. So probably be 3 little chunks of the book, and we'll see how it ends.
It gives me lessons
If it
in
goes well.
chemistry, but not
Oh, yeah.
necessarily the same field, but also that vibe.
Yeah, I don't know, I love when it's books about women doing things that like aren't typically represented in books. That's probably why we liked lessons in chemistry. Because like, yeah, she was a chef, but she was like a chemist first. And
Yeah.
we never see that. Excited for that one at the beginning of June. Another one I probably won't like rush and get it day of, but would like to read it pretty close to release.
You'll have to let me know.
I'll let you know. I will probably wait till my Libby hold comes in. Actually, that's what I'm going to say to that one. Or get it from the actual library. Because I think I've read all of those, except for Seven Husbands, have been physical copies, which is very unlike me.
Did you actually borrow my Daisy Jones one? I think you
hadn't even read it yet. You were like, I just bought this book if you want. I was like, oh, it's on my list. And you're like, I'm reading something else if you want to read it. So here I am with Meg's copy. And I remember reading it. I wish I had a book right here. Like so gently because I didn't want to break your spine.
God, I don't care.
Because I didn't know. Some people are really particular about that. And I was like, I'm the first reading it. So I was so gentle reading that. And I was like turning the pages so gingerly because I was like, I don't want to crease it. I don't want to do anything. It would be one thing if you were like, yeah, I've read it 6 times. You can have it. And like you gave it to me and it was a little beat up. But you gave it to me like the day after we bought it at the bookstore. So I was like, I have to be so gentle with it. And I read it in one sitting because I also was like, I don't want to take up too much time. She's giving this to me. It was amazing and I couldn't put it down. But yeah, I do remember being so careful about the spine. I was like, I need to give this back exactly how she gave it to me.
I literally do not mind at all. So if there's ever a chance I have a physical book, you can destroy it. It's okay.
It was so funny. But yeah, you hadn't even read it yet. You gave me your copy before you had even read it.
I legit stamped it and said, okay, here you go.
Yeah. I was like, okay, this is very nice. Yeah. And then Malibu Rising and Carrie Soto I got from the library. And I had read the ebook of Evelyn Hugo. So we'll see what format I do for this. I'm excited for that one. Anything for July?
I had one more for June, actually.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. So this one is the 4th in the Vancouver Storm series. It's called Gloves Off.
That's when it's coming out?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Look at me. Adding it to my Goodreads. Gloves Off.
Gloves Off. Yep. Yeah, because you've read the rest of the series, right? Yeah. So this one follows Alexi. He is the...
Oh, yeah.
He's part of the team. I forget what his actual role is, what position he plays on the team. So that is my bad.
He's the more like closed off one, right?
The super closed off one. And it is a marriage of convenience. So I feel like I am on a theme of marriage of convenience with Georgia. Yeah.
Yes. She's the, she works for the team, right?
Yes. Yeah. I think the dog.
We find that out at the... Yeah, we find that out at the end of Wingman.
Very end.
They come in with wedding rings.
So this is their story.
Which Wingman was disappointing. So I'm hoping the first and third were mid, 3 stars for me. Book 2, The Face Off, 5-star read.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping like she's just rotating, and book 4 will be 5 stars.
I hope so too, because this one could have a lot of promise in the fact that we just don't know enough about either character. We know, I don't even want to say surface level about Alexi, because I don't think we know anything really.
No, he's so closed off.
So
what is the first book? Behind the Net. Yes. If anyone was curious, it's Behind the Net, The Fake Out. I call it The Face Off, The Fake Out, and The Wingman, and now this one, Gloves Off.
I weirdly liked the third, but it wasn't my favorite. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't. I think I really enjoyed the first and the second. The third one, I said, "Oh, this is really cute," but it wasn't extravagant anyway.
The third one's probably my least favorite out of the ones that are out. I liked the first one, obviously, because it, like, got me into the series, and I will take it back. The first and the third, I give 4 stars. The second one, though, like, I was like, "Oh my god." It was my first 5-star read of 2024.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah. Yeah, they were really good. So I'm super excited for the fourth.
Nice.
I am hoping that this is the last one, and I truly mean that again, that there's just other characters in their on their team that I don't think need a book. So I'm curious to see if my mind will change after reading it. You know what I mean? Maybe they're
Yeah, they introduced someone.
right, becomes more important, who knows? But really hoping that this is it.
Yeah, I think the thing is, though, when they get really popular on TikTok,
Yeah.
I think a lot of authors, if this is, like, their first one that's popping off or they're, like, just, like, more of an indie author, I don't know if this one is indie, but I think,
Yeah.
like, they just get excited and the publishers get excited and they're like, "Clearly people like this world, keep going," and then sometimes they overdo it,
Yep.
which I get, but sometimes you have to know, like, when to cut it, so I agree. I think 4 would be good for this one, unless someone, like, amazing is in this book. So that's exciting. I didn't know that was coming out in what's the date on that one?
The 17th of June.
Same day as the Megan Brady book, so I will pick this over the Megan Brady book.
Yeah.
Or Brandy, whatever the fuck her last name is.
I think it's yeah.
And these are on Kindle Unlimited, which is always nice.
That's my other thing too that I really enjoy about these. It now there have been some that we've mentioned that we would have to buy, but the ones that are in Kindle Unlimited, I love because I'm already paying for the subscription. I feel like I'm getting a free book at that point. Thank you. I just need to click download. I get
Yeah.
the book, can read it in the next day. I'm good.
Mhm.
We're all set.
Yeah. I know Amazon doesn't even need to sponsor us because I will just willingly talk about how great I think Kindle Unlimited is.
It's
For free.
so bad how much I will gladly give to that.
Oh yeah, same. Okay. Did you have any more for June?
I didn't have any for June, and I actually don't have any for July, so I'm gonna
I don't either. Is
You-
everyone's on sabbatical, I guess, that month.
maybe they could just say, you know
I feel like
what? Some
yeah,
stuff.
July, I just feel like is always a quiet month for everything except for movies because they'll do like a big blockbuster like July 4th. But I just feel like, yeah, it's such a quiet month. Okay,
Yeah,
so I guess we can move. Oh, go ahead.
yeah. No, you go.
I was gonna say, I guess we can move to August.
Yeah, I guess so too.
Okay, what do you got?
So I have Love Arranged. It is the third and I think the final in the Lakefront Billionaires
Oh,
series by Lauren Asher.
Lauren
So this is the
Asher.
one that also did the um
Love Unwritten, Love Redesigned.
yes, exactly.
But she did the Dreamland Billionaires.
Yes, the Dreamland Billionaires. Yeah. That
Fine
one I think
print.
is still my top series so
Okay.
far. And now granted I've only read these 2 series by her, so I really can't say if they're better or worse than anything else that she's written, but this one is the third. There wasn't a huge description, but I do know that it follows Lily, and she is just a family member slash friend of most of the group from the 2 books. And then the main male character is someone that no one really likes. So it's going to be that it's their story, and I don't really know what's going to happen there. But these, I will say, the first one was phenomenal for me. The second one was a little too drawn out. So I'm reading it because I want to know the rest of the story with the group, but I'm excited that it's only 3 because now I know I'm done after this one. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I don't mean that against her. I just really am done with the series. I just want to know. So I'm hoping this one brings it back to life because the second one had a lot of promise and it was a lot of deep issues that both of the people had, but it was just too long.
Now, are any of these characters in this book connected to that Christmas novella she did, My December Darling? Because that was set in the same world, right?
So I want to say not related, but you do see some of the people because they might just be in passing. So
Gotcha.
it's similar actually the Dreamland series as well. They're in the same town, in same
Gotcha.
state. So you see some of the people here and there, but you don't actually interact
Gotcha.
as much. Yeah.
I started the first one in this series and I maybe got 1 chapter in and then I put it down because I like just really wasn't in the mood for it. And also they are extremely long.
The second one's long.
They're long romance books.
Yeah.
It is on my list to get to them at some point, but it's just one of those things that other things just keep taking higher priority for me.
Yeah.
I did like the Dreamland series by her too. 2 fun little facts though about they're not really facts, but 2 things about the author. 1, she's literally our age.
What?
Yeah. And 2, she she was like anonymous. She did not show her face, I think, until like 2 years ago.
What?
And I only know this because Larry reads from on TikTok and she's on YouTube. I love her, but she's friends with this author. And she did a YouTube video with her going to like Barnes and Noble, and they literally wore masks inside the store
Um,
because she didn't show her face. So she couldn't show her face in Larry's YouTube video and like when they were shopping. And then it was like a big deal. She did a book signing, and that's when people got to see what she looked like for the first time. And I have to just say, fucking love that.
yeah, I do too.
Like, didn't want to put her face with, and just like really let the work stand on her. But I think I looked her up and yeah, she's like literally the same age as us, which is
That's
just crazy.
crazy. I mean, kudos the fact that you said, you know what? No, I'm gonna let no one see who I am, judge it based on the book by itself,
Yeah.
and I'll
And I have,
introduce
yeah.
myself.
And I have no clue what the reason was, but like, I don't know. Maybe she's writing under a pen name or something. Or maybe it's her real name and she's like, I don't want anyone to know that this is me writing these smutty books.
Right.
But I just think that's so interesting. But yeah, now her face, and she's like on social media and stuff. But yeah, she literally, let me just double check. I'm pretty sure she's like, oh no, she's a year younger than us.
God, I have a compliment.
June 20th, 1995. And I'm like, damn. Yes. When I saw that, I was like, oh shit. Yeah,
I mean, I will say if I had written books like this, actually in general, any book, I probably wouldn't want people to see my face at first. I wouldn't want people to judge it based on, I went to school with her, and blah, 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 or whatever the comments are. I just wouldn't want that. I would want the read it and then I'll show you my face a couple of years down the line.
Yeah.
I would totally go with that. If that's the reasoning, that would be my reasoning
Yeah.
as well.
I also would never use my first and last name. Like, I would be using my first and middle name as my author name.
Sure. I can't even use my middle name. Everyone would know it's me very, very easily. So
I would
think
definitely
I'd
come
have
up with
to
a
use
fake name.
complete name.
I'd use a fake name for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. What date was that? July or August?
That was August 19th.
Okay. Do you have any other ones for August?
No, that was it.
Okay. I have one, and I know nothing about this, so I'm not giving a description. It is Forget Me Not by Stacey Willingham, expected to come out August 26th. The only reason why this is on the list is because A Flicker in the Dark is one of my favorite thriller books. And then I read her second one. I can never remember the name. All the Dangerous Things, I think is what it's called. And I liked that one too. And so this will be her next book. And I need to see if she can continue to write books that I really enjoy. A Flicker in the Dark is still better than the second one was, but I liked the second one. And I just need to see.
No, I actually did not know that she had a book coming out, but that would be a really good one. Or at least I hope it'd be good.
I hope it'll be good. Yeah. I really have not read many thrillers honestly, since we read a ton in October for the podcast. I had to stop thrillers because we thrillered Too Close to the Sun. It was just too much. I was like, I need to cleanse my palate of these for a while. So hopefully by August, I'll be ready to read one. Another one, I'm probably not going to rush to get it on release day. Her stuff usually is not on Kindle Unlimited, so I'll probably wait till it's available at the library, but I would like to get to it because I definitely did enjoy the first two books from her, and I don't see myself not enjoying a third one.
And honestly, to your point about not rushing to get it, that one, with it being a thriller, would be really good for September, October vibes anyways. So if you push it out a month, who cares,
Yeah.
Read it when it's more spooky season and it's actually worth it.
Yeah, so I'm excited for that one. And just like based off the picture, like there's like a headlight in there, so I'm assuming it has something to do with like a car. I don't know, maybe a car accident. I have no clue. I'm just excited for a good thriller.
I just want to get back to a good thriller because ever since, like you said, we did it for the podcast, I just have not gone back. Nothing is sparking any interest in me.
I know, and there was a new I have not read any of the new Frida books that have come out. Like, I still haven't read The Boyfriend. I did not read The Housemaid is Watching, whatever that third one was. Then I didn't read that like Christmas wedding novella that she came out for The Housemaid. And then she just had a new one come out, The Crash, that I've seen people talking about. I haven't picked it. Like, I need to, but I just, like, it's not drawing me in right now.
I used to read murder mysteries like crazy.
I don't know how you read them back to back to back to
I
back.
don't know how I did either, because I just have no energy to read it right now. It's just, I don't know, hit me back up at September, maybe I'll be interested. It'll be
Yeah.
a yearly thing that I'll read them, and that's it.
Spooky season. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, that was all I had for August.
Yep.
Did you have any other ones?
Nope, that was it for me.
Do you have anything for September?
I have one, so I feel like I'm getting less and less each of them.
Go. I literally have one more on my list,
Okay, so this one was the gingerbread bakery. So
and it's this one.
Okay.
So Meg will be taking over the rest of the episode.
Okay. So this is the 5th of the Dream Harbor series. So this one is Annie. She's the one that owns the bakery or works at the bakery. And it's with Mac. He's the one that they hate each other.
Mhm.
Always have that, but let's be real, it's that love-hate relationship that's going on. It's their story. So it'll be
September is an interesting time for this. Like, just the title strikes me as like a November, December release.
So that's what I was trying to figure out too, because I didn't understand where we were going with it. The only reason why I can assume maybe it's coming out this time is, again, because it's that
Yeah, if it's at the fall.
cozy feeling. But yeah, the tough thing is with the names of the stores are very specific. Christmas Tree Farm.
They're very seasonal. Except when she gave us the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore and it released in like October, but the book was set in the summer.
Yeah, that one should have been a summer release for sure.
Yeah, so I don't know. But yeah, I'm excited for that one. Just, again, cozy reads. Nice that we're getting 2 of them, and I'm assuming this will finish it up.
I think so, because if you think about it, there's no other friends that they've added. It was truly just the...
Well, unless there's new implants coming, transfers from other states. I don't think there's any more locations we've talked about.
No, and every single one of the cute little pictures that she does of the map in front, these are the primary stores that are listed. So I don't think we're getting anything else.
That's good, yeah.
For me, I'm done. You know what I mean? It's cute. I want to see the rest of it, but then I'm good.
Yeah, we don't need to stretch this to like 10 books. Yeah, I'm with you. 5 is
exactly.
5 is great.
Yep.
Okay, that was my last book I had. So, do you have any others for September?
I have no more for September.
What about October? Hit us.
So this one I think you are going to be excited for as well is Max's book from Meg and Quinn. It is Merry Christmas, You Filthy Animal. It is the second, and I'm so thrilled.
Oh, wow.
October. None. It just says Max.
October.
She did October
oh my God.
for her last one too, and it was a hike literally through the beginning of the year. It was nuts.
Yeah, good point. Oh my goodness. That whole thing with Max kills me because, like, for anyone who's watching or listening, I read the ebook of How My Neighbor Stole Christmas. And so it ends with the epilogue of those main characters, and that's it. Then Meg bought the Barnes & Noble version, which had like an extra epilogue. So she was like, oh, I'll send you pics of the epilogue so you have it for the podcast. I'm like, great. Now, mind you, I'm texting her and I'm like, oh my God, because I think the regular epilogue ends with like Max is going to be entering the competition. I'm like, I need an entire book on Max going to the competition the next year. What's the rivalries? What's the status? I need Max. Well, then Meg sends me the extended epilogue, and that entire epilogue covers Max's whole journey in that competition. And I was like, well, I guess I can go fuck myself with my idea because it's not with me. She seemed to get a lot of outcry about like, we want Max's story, we want Max's story. And I bet a lot of people didn't get that Barnes & Noble version that had the extra chapter that like answered that question. That was a lot to put in a bonus chapter for like a special edition.
My only thing can be that either we find out about the competition, but more towards the end, and then his story starts. Do you know what I mean? Because we know.
Yeah, because in the extended epilogue, we know how the entire competition went for him.
Right, but we don't know any of the aspects.
Yeah, like
but I don't think I need the competition again because.
But like, she can't tell us because like, we know he wins.
Right, exactly.
So
I don't know, but she must have either wrote these back to back or at the same time and just said, you know what, I'm going hard and just going to release them one after the other.
Oh, see, I think people raved about Max and were like, Max was my favorite part of the whole book. And she was like, oh, shit. I think this was supposed to be a standalone. And I think she was like, oh, shit. Because I think she wouldn't have written that extended epilogue for Barnes and Noble if she knew people were going to want Max's story. Because that was the logical thing, would be to write about him in the competition,
That's true.
which was my gut after reading the ebook version, is like, oh, I want him in the competition, not knowing that she gives it in that extra epilogue. And so I think she probably like dropped everything to write it.
That's a good point, actually. That's probably more like it. I mean, so many people were thrilled for him. Again, another side character that had such heavy side character energy, but like at the same
Oh, he can hold his own though.
his own. I mean, the
It's so
pictures
funny.
also, because I got the Barnes and Noble when I
Oh
got the
yeah,
photos. So I had sent them to you and they were just perfect.
they were good. What's the date on that one?
So that one's October 7th is what it's expected.
Oh, early in the month. Okay. Yeah, I'll probably like download it, but I probably won't read it until November time. Because October,
Same
I
for the
like
other
to
one.
read my spooky books, you know.
I did the same for the other one where I held off until after Halloween and said, okay, now I'm in the vibes for
Yeah.
Christmas and winter time.
Oh my goodness. I'm so excited. I can't
I
wait.
can't wait because I have no idea what it's going to be. I don't know if we're going to get the competition. Are we going to get the off season and maybe he's doing something crazy? I mean,
Maybe it's like 2 years after How My Neighbor, and it's like an all-star season of the competition. The winners all have to compete. So her aunt's back in it.
I would love that. That'd be.
Max is in it. Yeah.
Do they actually technically either of them win? No, they don't win on their season. It was I think it was the weird guy who was really
Yeah,
good
they
at
didn't
candy
win.
cane making or something. It was like one specific.
So maybe the three of them are going to be on a team or something. I don't know. We'll probably get more details in the next couple of weeks, like couple months. But
Especially because she has
Sick.
2 others that are coming out this year, so I know she's going to be hyping those up, and then she set herself up. She has one pretty much for each quarter of the year, if you think about
Look
it.
at her.
January, April, July, no, June, and then we're getting October.
Yeah, 4 books in 1 year. She's cranking them out. I'm telling you, like every 3 months you get a book from her.
Yeah,
She's a great author to fall in love with.
great author because there's so much content out there
Mm-hmm.
that you
Oh
can
yeah, she's a
easily
huge
get
backlist
now.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's perfect.
Nice. All right.
Yeah.
What's any more for October?
No, and that's actually it for the whole year in terms of releases that I'm excited for. So.
Yeah. I'm sure there'll be more that get announced, but sometimes those like November, December ones, they hold off.
I know, because they typically wait until, March, April, where they can get the hype, but it's not. You're waiting the whole year for.
Yeah. Also, these are books that like we are interested in. There's definitely a lot of releases this year, but there's some that like are just series that I'm not invested in, not part of.
Ones that I'm okay with learning about after it happened. And also, like we were saying earlier, mysteries and thrillers, not our genre right now. There's a bunch of releases happening for the year, but
Mhm.
not my thing. I don't think
Yeah.
I can do it right now.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's go into, there's some books that are not releases, new releases, but we want to get to in 2025. We're excited to read. So these are those. Like they could have come out, years ago, but they still deserve a spotlight. So hit us with yours, Meg. If you want to do maybe the first one, the first couple, whatever you want to do.
All right, I'll do the first one. I guess this is multiple, but the Harry Potter reread.
On the list.
It's on the list because it's been a couple years and I'm due. I am due for a reread for sure.
Yeah, I have not reread it probably since like 2020, 2021.
Wow. Okay.
It's been a while for me, I think.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I would like to confirm that. Let me see my read dates. I do like that. Goodreads will like keep that information for you. Yeah, 2020 was my last one.
God. Hold on. I actually now need to check mine because I have no idea when I read it. It was the first book that I downloaded on my Kindle.
Same. And I never take them off because now that when Kindle Unlimited used to only be 10 books, it used to freaking take up all my space. Now it's 20, so.
All 7 are there. I read it in 2022. So.
20, like 22 or 2020 as well.
Oh, 22.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
That totally got confusing.
Yeah, I am
Yeah.
more than due for a reread. Yeah, especially because I just read Manacled, so I need to like dive back in. Also, we were like toying with the idea of maybe doing some podcast episodes with each of the books, deep diving the books, like our thoughts, reading them as people who have read them multiple times, seen the movies multiple times, and then maybe even doing like little comparisons of things from the books that were dropped from the movies, we wish was kept in, what we thought maybe could have been taken out for time restrictions. So let us know if you'd like to see that. That could be
We
fun.
will gladly
Selfishly,
talk about it.
yeah, selfishly, I just want to. Okay. I'm going to combine two
Okay.
to make this for time purposes. So like these are the two like fantasy books that are top of mind for me. Serpent in the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. They're on to the third book. I still have not made it to the first one.
There's 3 now? Oh my god. Okay, this is on my list as well, so I'm just gonna say I'm gonna copy paste you.
So the first two books follow like one couple, and then this third book is a different couple. So I think it's going to be like it's all part of a longer series, but there's like
Apologies per.
duologies per couple. Yeah.
Okay.
So I heard the third one is not as good. People like the original couple, so we'll see. But I need to get to this. This has been downloaded on my Kindle probably a year and a half.
Wow.
Have not gotten to it. So it's happening this year. It is happening. And then the second fantasy book that I really want to get to is Metal Slinger by Rachel Schneider.
Sent this to me recently, right?
Yeah, so I don't know what her last name is, but what Emmy reads on TikTok, she's kind of the one who like really made it popular at the end of the year. And she was just like, I'm calling it. This is going to be the next big romantic book. People seem to really like it. I'm pretty sure it's on Kindle Unlimited. I know nothing about it. Everyone says to go into it blind, so I will be doing that. But everyone that I have heard or seen read it has rated it really high.
I've heard the same thing. This has been one that I just keep getting popped up of if you like this series and this one and you're in a book hangover and you need another one to read, here you go. And people are saying to read it blind. Interesting. I mean, I know we do that for most of the series, and then we say we never saw this coming, and it was summary.
Like, I'm so caught off guard by this.
It's in the second sentence of the summary.
Yeah. So that's like my fantasy section of things that I want to read. And for this list, I'm giving like a sprinkle. My list is actually humongous, but this is like top of the list. So
I agree, yeah, because my list, it started off a lot bigger, but then I reread a few summaries and said, oh, I actually really don't care for that book right now. So mine actually is the opposite, where I think this is primarily just on top of the releases. This is what I'm shooting to complete for the year.
I would like to get these for the year. All right, what else do you have on yours?
The other one that I had was Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole.
Oh, yeah.
And this is one that I think everyone's been talking about over the last couple months. So it just looks interesting, and I'm really excited to try a different fantasy series, because that's the thing too, is that's another genre that it's hit or miss in the sense of, am I always comparing it to another series, or is it, going to be good on its own?
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah. I should add that one to my list. Like, it's on my list, but I should add it to this list that I just said, because I do want to read that. It's so hard though with these series that aren't finished, because it's just like, I'm going to catch up and I'm going to binge 3 books in a row, and then I'm like, where's the rest? Oh yeah. And then it's just like a never-ending TBR, because you're constantly waiting for the next one. But that one is on my list also because I want to participate in the Fantasy Fangirls episodes about it. Okay, my next genre I'm going to do is dark romance, because she's a dark romance girl now. What can I say? I would love to do like an episode maybe at the end of the year where I could talk about it a little bit more as someone who is dipping her toes into the genre for the first time. I've read like a handful throughout the year. Like, we read the Mindfuck series, and like that's one that people recommend a lot. And there are definitely some that are not newbie friendly, and I am quickly learning some tropes that I do not like, some trigger warnings that I should definitely be paying attention to. So I think that can be fun at the end of the year to like just like, even if it's a little part of an episode, like just talk about my experience. But top of the list is God of Malice, like the whole like legacy of God series by Rena Kent. Everyone says it's the best one. Now, here's the thing. I am mentally unwell. And that is, if you look, she has like this whole like Renoverse where like all the characters connect. It's like 30 books in the whole thing. And if you look, the Legacy of God series is like at the bottom. So I cannot jump to the series at the bottom because it's the kids of the people from the first series.
Oh, so you're gonna start at the top.
So I can't do that. I physically cannot do that. So when I say I would like to get to God of Mouse, that means I'm reading like 20 something books before I get there. So this is like 20 books in one. Now I have put a dent. The Royal Elite series is the first one. I think I have 2 books left in that. So I've started my way through the Riniverse. The books are so short. They're 300 pages. You can read them in one sitting. One day I read 2 of them in one day.
Damn. Okay.
They were 3 hours each. So like they're so short. I would like to get to that though, because people say it is some of her best work and I feel left out. Second one that I really want to get to is the Kingmaker series by Sophie Lark. And the only reason why this one is on my list is because someone said it's Harry Potter meets Mafia. And that was all I needed to know.
We were talking about a couple days ago.
Yeah, they're like at some school, but they're all mafia kids. And sounds like something I would like.
I would agree with that. I think I added it to my list after we talked about the fact that it was Harry Potter meets Mafia. And I said, okay, I think I could actually dip my toes into dark romance style if this is where it is.
Yeah, so I really liked that. Now, I will say there was a dark romance book on the list, but I did read it already this year. But I would like to just shout it out, and that was Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman. One of the best books I've ever read. Now, I gave it only 4.5 stars. Wasn't a 5-star read, but I will shout about this book from the rooftops. Most heartbreaking, beautiful romance book I have ever read, and I think it is a great intro if you're trying to get into dark romance. The first 30%, traumatic. But then it's kind of following life after the trauma, and it was amazing. And it was 300 pages. So again, it was like a 4-hour read.
Oh, even better. I have that one on my list. Not on this list, but I have it on my actual TBR because you had texted me saying, if you're interested in the genre, this is a good option.
Yeah, and it's on Kindle Unlimited. It was unbelievable. I'll leave it at that. Those are the 2 that I'd like to get to. There's a million more that are on my actual list, though, but like these 2 I really would like to be able to get to.
Yeah. It is so tough, and I say this all the time. There's so many books that come out regularly, and we only talked about a few that we're interested in, but there are probably so many more that are going to shout out. Next month, they're going to say, okay, here's a book. And then my TBR is going to keep growing. I keep trying to do a cleanse of it and say, this has been on here for too long. I don't think I'm ever going to get to this one. But then a new book takes its place.
Yeah. And it's hard when you are changing genres or you are trying to like read a new genre. So like think about when you first jumped into fantasy. It's like, okay, so you need to read ACOTAR, you need to read Fourth Wing, you need to read Crescent City, you need to read Throne. Like there's already like just like here's your starter guide that you just have to get to before you can even get to all these new releases that everyone is talking about. Same with dark romance. There's like all these series that I'm like, oh, like you all have read them. I'm catching up on like 3 years worth of recommendations before I can even get to the new stuff. Yeah. I feel like it's like the foundation for it. And then you can finally be in the party. Did you have any other ones on your?
I didn't. I think a lot of mine have truly been more on the romance and then the fantasy genres that I've been more interested in lately, but does not mean that something else isn't going to pop up and say, okay, let's try it and see what's going to happen. But.
Yeah, I agree. I had one in contemporary romance. It's the Addicted to You series. It's by Becca and Krista Ritchie. I think they're sisters. Also known as like the Addicted to Calloway series. I think it's like an 8 or 9 book series, and it follows these sisters, and it's like each of them have their interconnected. Each of them have their own. I used to read a lot of series like this that followed larger families. I always really, really liked them. But again, Larry, who I mentioned earlier in the episode, this is like one of her God tier series. And all of her other ones that are like, these are my to die for series, I also really enjoy. So I feel like I would like this. I think they're all on Kindle Unlimited as well. So that's on my list. So yeah, I really kind of cheated on this list, and I had some that I've already read.
I will say that
I got a head start.
Yeah, I will say that I was gonna add it, but I'm pretty much through the entire series. Well, at least what's out right now is the Crescent City series. I'm on the 3rd book, and I originally had said last year I want to read this series, and then just kind of said, I'm going into it, done. I'm ready for this, and I'm so glad I did. So glad I did. So it's still a book I want to finish, but not read. I mean,
yeah, mark it on here. Mark it on here. Um, okay, how far into 3 are you?
I'm not far at all. I think I literally just got a little bit into part 2, so
Yeah.
you've already read it, so I'm not
People,
doing spoilers, but it's
yeah,
enough that it's setting up for the rest of it, basically.
yeah. People like dragged book 3.
I I don't know.
And that's when I read it. I read 1 and 2 right before book 3 was coming out, so I could like be on the hype train with everyone.
Yeah.
And I personally liked Flame and Shadow. Other people did not like it, how there's so many POV chapters.
I don't hate that. I
I
really
don't either.
don't. You know what's weird is it kind of just gives you that variety of, okay, now you're on a cliffhanger with this character, and we're gonna shift to the same exact time, but to someone else so you can see their part. And I don't, maybe it's because I read Throne of Glass and I really enjoyed the fact that you got a variety of POVs. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I knew that going into the series because that's how she writes, at least for these two series, are primarily multiple POVs, but
Yeah. It
I did
didn't bother
not hate
me
it.
in that book. Now, in the last Zodiac book I read, there were 24 different POVs,
Oh,
19
wow.
or 24, I can't remember the exact number, different POVs.
Okay, that's too much.
That was overkill. We were getting POVs of characters who weren't even side characters, like the lowest level of a side character in all the other books, and they just had like a POV chapter. It was so overkill, and the book was 1,300 pages, and that made me hate it. Like, remember when I got on the podcast and I was so excited about Zodiac Academy?
Yeah.
I'm hating it. I'm
Really?
hating every second of it. But I'll be curious to see what you think of Flame and Shadow by the end.
Yeah.
Out of the first two, which one did you prefer?
Um, I really loved the first one, but the second one I thought was really cool because it builds more on the first. Obviously, the first one you're getting to know the area, the people,
Yeah.
and you think that the problem's kind of small. I will say I called the larger issue very early on, which I think is
Yeah.
what's supposed to happen. And that's kind of what leads the rest of the series. But I did not expect the people who were involved in what had happened. So that's
Yeah.
where I was interested. Um, and then granted, I also knew that you kind of got a little bit of the folks from Akatar in this one. So I wanted to read it to prep for whenever we get the next Akatar book. But I mean, I don't
Yeah,
know.
because I feel like you're going to need to read these for Akatar 6
Well,
because it's post Silver Flames.
right. And that's where, now granted, I haven't finished the rest of the third book, so I don't know how much more, because there have been hints at they could see these people again. I know she, I got to the point where she left that world and Bryce is back. And spoiler for people who haven't read it, but sorry. At this point, I feel bad, but I'll do a spoiler notice ahead of time next time. But for me, it's just I'm curious to see what the rest of the book's going to be. If I need to start recommending this to people who read Akatar, because I don't want to start throwing them a whole new series for them
Yeah.
to get pieces of information. But if it's important information, either she better do a recap at the beginning of the sixth
Yeah.
book, or I don't know, give people a mini novella and say, here you go. Seize information. I don't know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to.
Turning into Marvel, the Marvel Cinematic
Right.
Universe.
Yeah. You need to do this series before this one. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm excited to read the rest of it and see what my thoughts are at the end, because after every single book, I've written down a couple sentences of my review. So I'm excited
Yeah.
to see if this one lives up.
It's so funny because Akatar's 1 for me, Crescent City is 2, and Throne of Glass is 3.
Yeah.
But Crescent City is the series where I remember the least. Like, I only remembered Bryce and Danica.
Yeah.
I could not remember anyone else's name. We're like Throne of Glass. I still remember all their names. I might not remember the details, but I can remember their names and Akatar, obviously. So it's just so interesting that like Akatar is because I loved it so much, and Throne of Glass I think it's because I hated it so much.
Yeah.
And Crescent City is very mid, but I don't know. And I would be curious to see what she comes out with in the future, if anything could top Akatar for me.
I know, because I know that people have tried hinting at the fact she might have a fourth series completely different. I don't know if that's true. I'm kind of, obviously I would love for her to create more, but I'm also okay if these were her three top winning things, and then we get something down the line when she finishes these. Please just get me through these series. And
Yeah,
I'm okay with you starting a new one and getting me hyped up again. I'm okay with that. I will live with that. But right now it's
that's
really
what
tough for me. It's tough.
that's what I find really like I love her, but the thing I find
Yeah.
really annoying about her, and this is as someone like the only real-time book I've read from her was the last Crescent City book, but I'm sorry. If you are writing fantasy series, you need to finish them before you start new ones because it's different with romance series.
Yeah.
They're interconnected. It's not that serious. It's fine. But to just fully stop ACOTAR when we know there needs to be more books and just start in a completely new series and write 3 books for that and then oh there's going to be a 4th book but we're going to pause that and ACOTAR we're going to go back to ACOTAR now like it's confusing for the readers because now it's like every time there's going to be a new book you have to go and reread the whole series again because you're constantly being pulled out. I wish she would just have committed to writing ACOTAR 6, finishing ACOTAR, and then have put out the Crescent City books.
Yeah, because no, I'm saying this with not knowing all of the third book of Crescent City, and I understand that there is the overlap of the characters, but if it's only just an overlap and there isn't a lot that you need from each series, it's not like you have to do an extensive of,
Yeah.
oh, sorry, you do need to read this before the next one because there's so much that went down that you have to have this information. But at the same time, you could do what most books do of a, oh, remember those characters that we talked to for 5 minutes? Yeah, so this is kind of what happened and this is the issue. And they can do it in nicer words than what I just explained
Yeah.
there. But give me a quick summary and then you can get into the actual meat and bones of the rest of the book. And I'm okay with that. And then you don't have to worry about it. But
Yeah. And like there's no warning from her saying that you need to read these to read ACOTAR, but based off of what happens in these series, like I don't really understand how you're going to pick up ACOTAR without having heard all of this because like you'll see at the end of the book. But
yeah.
it's just interesting to me
Yeah.
why she and I don't know, like did she feel like she had to write the ACOTAR crossover in because people were so pissed? Like, why are you giving me a new series and not finishing the old one that we're 5 books, 5, 6 books
Right.
into, whatever it is.
And out of the 3 series, these two make the most sense to be connected just because of how Crescent City is described. The whole group, where they all come from, all that stuff. So it makes sense, but yeah, I would feel bad telling people, oh, the 6th ACOTAR one's coming out next year or something, but you might need to read Crescent City just to get the information. But I mean, we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, I still like it, but I'm just now I'm bummed because I gotta wait a while and I don't know when the next ACOTAR is even coming out anyways. Which
Anything from her is coming out.
yeah, because it might just be
It's
a
been
shocker.
yeah, because Flame and Shadow came out last end of January, early February. I can't remember what the exact
Was
date
that
was.
before Kingdom of Ash or after?
I think her last release was
Was
Flame and Shadow.
okay.
So did she? That's the other thing. I don't know what the timeline for Throne of Glass is. Like, did
She said
she
that.
start releasing ACOTAR while Throne of Glass wasn't finished?
So Throne of
She's so
Glass
annoyed.
started 2012, I think it was. It was because it was her first book, the first
Yeah.
one she had created, and then started ACOTAR. So I don't know if she has this larger idea of how they're supposed to connect, but
Oh yeah, Kingdom of Ash came out in 2018.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, Flame and Shadow was last year.
Okay.
But since then, and then she went on Today's Show. She was talking to Savannah. It was Savannah, either Savannah or Jenna. I can't remember which one. And she gave like a roadmap of like the book she's working on. And we haven't heard anything since. Like no dates, no timelines, nothing. Everything's just on the runway. That's what she said.
I don't know if she's trying to just hype us up to the point where when she does tell us, it becomes this mass rush to read it again and go for it. I mean, could be a tactic.
Maybe.
We're all waiting. You know what I mean? I would gladly reread the ACOTAR series again just to get hype for it.
I have to at this point. I
Yeah,
read it in
same.
2023. I don't remember.
No, neither do I.
I need to refresh. All right. Well, that was everything on my list.
Likewise.
Is that everything on yours?
Yeah,
All right.
that's it.
So I like how we were like, this episode will be shorter and we still yap.
I think that's
So, yeah.
just our thing. We just yap. It's
Yeah,
that's our
pretty much.
situation.
Pretty much. All right.
All right.
Outro us.
Yeah, outro. So Our next episode releasing on March 12th will be Rebel Witch by Kristen Ciccarelli. If I'm saying that right or wrong, I apologize. But
That's what I'm calling her.
that's the conclusion of the Crimson Moth duology. So we'll be talking about that more in depth. I guess for everything else too, just follow us on Instagram and TikTok and Fable at Booktroverts Pod, and you'll get to hear more about our yapping and everything else that's going on. So chat with you soon. Bye everyone.
Bye.